Very good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the another lecture under Prerna Scheme sponsored by AICT. Myself, Professor Asif Beg, Assistant Professor Civil Engineering Department, Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patel College of Engineering, Nagpur. Friends, today we will see the topic principle of surveying and chain surveying under the subject surveying, which is very much important in concern with the GATE examination. So, what is mean by the survey? So, surveying is an art which is which is which is to determine the relative position of the different objects on the surface of the earth by measuring the horizontal distance between them. So not only the horizontal distance but also for the vertical distance. But for the vertical distance, the surveying is having the different classification, which is called as leveling. So leveling is the branch of surveying which deals with the determination of relative vertical distances of the difference point on the surface of the earth. So it is related only with the vertical plane. So surveying is deals with the horizontal plane. In that case, we deals with the determination of horizontal distance only. But in case of leveling, we deals with the vertical plane, in which we determine the relative position of the earth. So the relative position of the earth in case of the its height. Okay. So these are the definition of surveying, and surveying in the surveying, another definition is leveling. Okay. So what are the objective of surveying? Objective of surveying is to main objective of the surveying is to prepare a map or plan to show the relative position of the objects on the surface of the earth, to determine the boundaries of land. It is very useful for the purpose of designing projects such as dams, canals, roads, railway. The successful completion of any engineering project mainly depends upon the accurate surveying. So surveying is the basic uh, method, or we can say uh, the main branch of the civil engineering, which deals with directly with all the type of structure construction. While we are going for any road, railway construction, or any canal survey, canal construction, you must have its correct alignment, which may leads to the economical project. While constructing a building, you must go with its boundary line. So for determining the boundary of the land, it is required. For drawing any type of map or any type of plan, surveying is required. So surveying is the basic thing which is required in the civil engineering department, civil engineering field. Okay, so this is the, we can say, the main branch of surveying. Okay, now what are the uses of surveying? So it is useful for measurement of areas, to prepare the different types of map, such as topographical map, such as cadastral map, engineering map, military map, contour map, geological map, etc. So what are these type of map? So topographical map is the map which gives the idea regarding the land. Okay. Now depending upon other things, these maps are classified like cadastral, engineering map, military map, contour map, and the geological map. Now, it is very useful for the purpose of designing projects such as dams, canals, roads, railway. It is used for making of plans in connection with legal documents. And in case of dispute of property, certain plans may be used as a legal document. So surveying is used in this field. Other than this, many fields are there. As it is, surveying is the main branch of civil engineering. the surveying is used. Now, what are the principles of surveying? So there are main two principles of surveying. One is to work from whole to the part and to locate the new station by at least two measurement. So the linear or angular from fixed references point. So we will see one by one what is mean by to work from whole to the part, and other one is to locate the new station by at least two measurement. Okay, it may be linear, it may be angular. Okay, so what is mean by the work from whole to the part? See, consider uh, this is the boundary of the area, and in which we have to measure the area of this particular boundary. So directly we will not measure the whole area of this particular boundary, but we will distribute this whole area into number of triangles and the number of triangles. Okay, so according to the first principle, the whole area is first enclosed by main station. So whole area is enclosed in the main station. So this is the control station. Okay, this is the main line. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, these are all are the main station. And uh, then main survey lines, that is the controlling lines, these lines are the main survey line. The area is then divided into number of parts by forming well conditioned triangle. So the main survey lines are measured very accurately with a standard chain, and then the sides of triangle are measured. Okay, so the whole area is divided into main station lines. Then main line is then divided as the well conditioned triangles, and these lines then measure with the help of chain. Okay, this is the first principle of surveying. Another one is in the same part. The purpose of this process of working is to prevent accumulation of error. During this procedure, if there is any error in the measurement of any side of a triangle, then it will not affect the whole work. The error can always be detected and eliminated. But if the reverse process from the part to the whole is followed, then the minor error in measurement will be magnified in the process of expansion, and this error will become absolutely uncontrollable. So you can see what is the purpose of this first principle is to accumulate the error. While measuring any area of any boundary, we have to divide whole area into the part, and as a part we have to measure that individual part. Okay, so if there is any error in any part, so whole work will not affect due to that error. Okay, we can accumulate that error afterwards. Okay, now the second is to locate a new station by at least two measurement. That it may be linear, it may be angular, from fixed or reference point. Okay, so you can see here, according to the second principle, the new station should always be fixed by at least two measurement from fixed reference point. So linear measurement refer to horizontal distance measurement by chain or tape. Angular measurement refers to a magnetic bearing or horizontal angle taken by the prismatic compass or the theodolite. So these are the equipment which is used to determine the angle and the distance. So for the distance we can use chain or tape, and for the angular measurement we can use the prismatic compass or the theodolite. Okay, so if we know uh, the length of AB and the angle BC, so we can connect with the C point. Okay, if you know the length BC and AB, we can draw this point AB where this C point is coincide. Okay, if you know the angle of A and B, we can take the angle at this point and we can draw the point C. Okay, so from this figure we can just easily can plot a well conditioned triangle from two measurements. So at least two measurements we should know. First one is the length of particular stations, and another one is the angle. Okay, so it may be either linear, it may be either angular. So in the first diagram you can see this is purely linear. In the second diagram it is one linear and one angular. In the third point we can see both are the angular. Okay, now the classification of surveying. First one is the primary survey, and second one is the secondary survey. So surveying is classified into two, primary and the secondary. In primary survey, there are two types. Primary survey in two type, having two type, plane surveying and the geodetic survey. So what is mean by the plane surveying? In case of surveying, when we are not considering the spherical shape or the curvature of the earth, that surveying is called as the plane survey. But in case of geodetic surveying, when we have to when we are considering the curvature of the earth, as we know the earth is having the spherical shape, the survey is called as geodetic survey. The second classification of surveying is the secondary classification. Now this having again classified into its uses. So based on the instrument, the surveying is classified is the chain surveying, compass surveying, plane table surveying, theodolite surveying, tachometric surveying, photographic surveying. So the instrument used on that basis, this surveying is classified. If you are using the chain, this is chain surveying. If you are using the compass, this is compass surveying. If you are using the plane table for surveying, this is plane table surveying. If you are using theodolite, this is theodolite surveying. If you are using tachometry, this is tachometric surveying. If you are using photography, then this surveying is called as the photographic surveying. Now based on the method, again these are classified into two, triangulation surveying and the traversing. So what is mean by the triangulation, what is mean by traversing, we will see in the next class. But on the basis of this method, this surveying is classified. Okay, now based on the object, surveying is classified into geological surveying, mine surveying, archaeological surveying, and the military surveying. Now again, based on the nature of the field, land surveying, marine surveying, and astronomical surveying. So if the survey is performing on the land, it is land surveying. If the survey is performing on the water, this is marine surveying. If we are talking about the stars, this is astronomical surveying. Okay. So land surveying divided into following classes: topographical surveying, cadastral surveying, city surveying, and engineering surveying. So what is meant by the topographical surveying? To determine the natural and artificial features of the country, such as rivers, lakes, hills, roads, railways, towns, etc. This is called as the topographical survey. While cadastral survey is to determine the boundaries of the field, states, houses, is the cadastral one. Now then the city surveying is to locate the premises, street, water supply, and sanitary system. Engineering survey is to locate or is to collect the data for designing of engineering works such as roads, reservoirs, railways, etc. Now these are the difference between the plane and the geodetic survey. The effect of curvature of the earth is not considered in case of plane surveying, but in case of geodetic survey, we have to consider the curvature of earth. The surface of the earth is taken as plane in case of plane survey. In case of geodetic survey, it involves spherical trigonometry, so it is called as trigonometrically survey. So in case of plane surveying, the area to be surveyed less than 250 kilometers square. So there is one limitation for plane surveying. We cannot go for maximum 250 kilometers square area. But in case of geodetic survey, if you're surveying for more than 250 kilometers square, we have to consider the curvature of earth. The degree of accuracy is very low in case of plane surveying. In case of geodetic surveying, it is very high. The plane surveying is conducted by state agencies like Irrigation Department, Railway Department. Geodetic survey is conducted by the Survey of India, GTS department. Okay. Now you can see in the figure in the below, the straight line is drawn in the plane surveying. The undulation is drawn in the geodetic survey. So curvature of earth is considered in the geodetic survey. Now, what is mean by the representative fraction? It is the ratio of plan distance to the corresponding ground distance. Representative fraction is the ratio of plan distance, that is a plane distance, to the corresponding ground distance. So in RF, both the number and the denominator should be in the same unit. If 10 meter on the ground represent 1 centimeter on the drawing paper, the scale is 1 centimeter equals to 10 meter. So RF is equals to 1 centimeter divided by 10 into 100. So this is 1 by 1000. Okay. Now these are the conventional symbol. This is file drawing the map. This is the symbol for pond or lake. This symbol is for road, bridge or the culvert. If we draw this bold line in between this is the railway bridge. This symbol is for the building. This symbol is for the temple or orchard. Symbols this one. Cultivated land symbol is this one. This symbol is for the compound wall. This symbol is for the embankment filling. This symbol is for the uh, excavation cutting. This symbol is for the tunnel. So, and many more symbols are there. Okay. So we will see the linear measurement. Okay. So linear measurement is one of the basic function in the survey. Always horizontal, not sloping distance, and no way to check the error other than the remeasuring. Okay. So for it is the inclined distance, which is not correct. So horizontal distance is correct. Okay. So this is not a correct distance. Okay. If there is slope and we are calculating this inclined distance, so this is not correct. Okay. So from A to B station, if you are measuring the horizontal distance like this, so this one is the correct one. Okay. So how we have to measure? You can see in the figure itself. So B to C point is there, and this is the A point. Okay, two men are there. So one person is holding the chain exactly horizontally. Okay, so this line is the correct one. Okay, so this is the horizontal measurement. So linear measurement methods we will see. So there are methods of linear measurement: direct measurement by optical means and electronic method. So from the figure of this instrument, you can see direct measurement by meter or by piezometer or by tape or chain or by any digital meter. You can calculate the direct measurement. By optical means, by using this total station, you can measure the distance. Okay. By electronics method, okay, this is the instrument for measuring the distance. Okay. So this is called as the electro distance meter. Okay, EDM. Now, direct measurement instruments such as pacing, piezometer, pedometer, odometer, or speedometer. So, rough method for preliminary estimator, check of large mistake in the measurement made by the more precise method. Unsuitable in irregular and sloping ground. Precision is 1 by 50 or 1 by 1 by 200. Okay. So in direct measurement, if the instrument use pacing, piezometer, pedometer, or odometer, which is also called as the speedometer, this is having some drawbacks. This is used for the preliminary survey. This is for the rough. This is very rough method. So rough survey we can perform by this instrument. Okay. So this is not much precise method. This is not much accurate method. So there are chances of error, and the precision of this is 1 by 50 to 1 by 200. Okay. So if you perform a 50 meter or 200-meter length measurement, so there may be chances for 1 meter correction. Okay. Now we will see the instrument like tape or chain, and the survey of by using this instrument is called as a chain surveying. Okay, so chaining or taping carries same meaning. Use of either chain or tape by using by for direct surveying or the chain surveying. One of the accurate method of direct measurement is the tape or the chain. The method is basis for the most surveying. The precision of this surveying is 1 by 1000 to 1 by 5000 ordinary land survey. Okay, so this is much accurate than the pacing method or the pedometer or the speedometer method. Okay, so chain or the tape is the one of the accurate method if you compare with this the speedometer. Okay, so Generally, a chain was used early 16. Then the steel tape was used, and then tape is very commonly nowadays. Okay. So what are the instruments used for the chaining? Okay. So first we require the chain or tape, arrows, pegs, ranging rods, plumb bob, and the hand level. Okay. So in the figure you can see this. This is the chain. This is the figure for the chain. Okay. This is metallic chain, and this figure is for the tape. Okay. This the figure is for the pegs. This is the peg. This one is the arrow. This one is the plumb bob. Okay. Okay. Continue for the instrument of for chaining. So if we have to measure the distance of two stations A and B, so we have to mark that station width by using the pegs. Okay. So at A point and at B point, we have to mark that station. That is the station point. That is the station position. We can say that we have to mark with the pegs. Okay. And then we have to range that line by using the ranging rod, and by keeping the chain in the straight line with on the line of that ranging, and at the end of the chain we have to insert the arrow. Okay. So number of arrows multiplied with the length of the single chain gives you the distance between the station A and B. Okay. Now this is the ranging rod given in the figure. The use of ranging rod is intermediate points on the survey line, and the length of this ranging rod is normally 2 meter or 3 meter, we can say. Now this ranging rod is colored in two bands, black and white, or red or white. Okay, so red and white or black and white, and this bandwidth having the length 20 centimeter. Okay. Excuse me. Now this is also called as the ranging poles, similarly to the ranging rods, but big in size, used in case of long line. Okay. Now the another instrument, it is the plumb bob. This is used for verticality, which is used for to check the verticality of the ranging pole, and transferring to the point to the ground. Okay. Also it is used for the centering purpose in other surveying methods, like if you are using the compass, or you are using the theodolite. So for centering process or centering purpose, this plumb bulb is used. Okay. Now there are several types of chain used in surveying, and which are available in the market. Metric chain available in 5, 10, 20 meters. Another chain is the surveyor chain, these which are available in feet or number of links. Okay. Another chain is the engineer's chain, which is available in 100 feet of 100 links. Then the steel band or the band chain, which is available for 20 meter or the 30 meter. Okay. These are the figure for chain. Okay. Now there are several types of tape available in the market for surveying purpose. Cloth or linen tape, you can see in the figure. Metallic tape, steel tape, and invar tape, which is made up of alloy of nickel. So 30% of alloy and nickel is present, and steel is present in invar tape. Okay. So cloth tape is given, steel tape, linen tape, and the metallic tape you can see in the figure. So what is mean by the ranging? By using the ranging rod. Okay. Why? How we have to do the ranging? Okay. So suppose these A and B station are having the length more than the length of one tape or one chain. So in that case, we have to range this line in the straight one. Okay. So how we will do that? when the length of the survey line is greater than the chain of the tape, so how we have to do the ranging? So there are two methods. First one is the direct ranging, and another method is the indirect ranging. Okay, so we will see the indirect. First we will see the direct ranging. So these dotted point are the intermediate points, okay, between the A and B station. So what is the procedure for the direct ranging? We will see. So what is mean by the direct ranging? So in case of when the station A and B are intervisible to each other, okay, if the person at A can see the person at B, in that case we have to move for the direct ranging. So in that case of direct ranging, we have to hold the ranging rod in between station A and B, and the length of that particular ranging rod, that person which is holding, that should be less than the length of one tape. If you are having 20-meter or 30-meter tape or chain, so the person uh, should be stand before the tape or the chain ends. Okay, so if we are having the 30-meter chain, should be the distance less than the 30-meter. Okay, so the person which is standing at point P, so the person A will direct to the P person to be in the line with the B. Okay, so this is the direct ranging. Okay, for which we can use the line ranger, or we can also use the theodolite. Okay, so directly we can range by either eye, or we can use the line ranger or any optical instrument or any other instrument like theodolite. Okay, so code of signal used to direct the assistant are this one, you can see in the figure. Okay, for left you have to move in the left direction. Okay, so another method is indirect ranging. Indirect ranging, when the station A and B, the person from A cannot see the person at B. So in that case, we have to perform this indirect ranging. So in this indirect ranging, the person which is standing at M at N, then M person will direct N person to be in the line of B. Then N person will direct M person to be in the line of A. Okay, then again there is some irregularities in this. So again M person will direct into N person, you can see in the plan itself. Okay, so this will move to the N2 point. Now this N2 person will direct this M1 person to be in the line of A. So this M2 point we will get. Now this M2 person will direct this N2 person to be in the line of B. So N3 point we will get. Now N3 person will direct this M2 to move in the line of A. So we will get the M3 point. And similarly, we will go further and we will be in the line M and N. Okay. So in the plan you can see M and N lies in the line of A and B. So this is what the indirect ranging. Now chaining or taping over the sloping ground. So these are the methods like direct method, or which is also called as the method of stepping. Another method is indirect method. So with the help of vertical angles measurement or difference in the level measurement or high potential allowance, we can perform this indirect method. So what is direct method or stepping method? So suppose there is a slope of between station A and B. So we have to perform this in the straight line first. So we will get the L1 length. Then we will drop a plumb bob from this point, and at this point we will then again take the horizontal distance, which will get L2. Okay, we will drop the plumb bob again. Okay, then this point we will measure the distance L3. Then we will again drop the plumb bob and we will again measure the L4 and we will reach to the point B. And we will add this horizontal distance L1, L2, L3 and L4. We will get the total exact horizontal distance between the A and B. And if in figure you can see this is looking like the step. Okay, so this is also called as, this is what this is, that's why this is called as stepping method. Okay, this thing which we have seen in the first slide as well. Okay. Now this is the indirect method. So vertical angle measurement using by clinometer. So clinometer is the device or the instrument which is use the vertical angle. Okay. So by measuring the vertical angle from A to B, B to C, we can determine the distance D1, D2, and by summing up this D1, D2, we will get the distance of uh, A and C. Okay. So by using the trigonometric rules, we can determine the distance, horizontal distance, and by using the clinometer. Okay. Now chain surveying. We will move for the chain surveying. So what is mean by the chain surveying? What are the principle of surveying? So one of the principle of surveying is triangulation. Okay. So survey station are this one A, B, C, D, E. These are the survey station. So main station are this one. Now we will just connect this with the subsidiary station, and we will divide this whole area into the number of triangles. Okay. Survey station and survey lines. Station should be mutually visible. Survey lines few as far as possible. Must have one baseline. Pass through level ground. Form well conditioned triangle and sufficient check lines. Okay, so this is what the survey station and survey line. Now what is the offset? So in figure you can see this. Okay, so to mark any landmark in the plan, and the one line is passing through near to this plan. So this is the check line in the figure, and this is the offset line you can see. Okay, so to mark any landmark. How to locate the ground features? So offset, which we have seen in the figure, that is the lateral distance of an object from the survey line. If you see this A and B point, this is the A station, and P is the ground feature. Okay, so we have to mark this P. This P, we can say this is P is for the pole. Okay, so we have to make the offset of 90° from point C. Okay, and we have to measure this distance. Okay, so in this line AB, at the point C, if we mark this 90° at this distance D, we are having this pole. Okay, so this is the ground feature we have mentioned in the drawing. Okay, so offset should be small as possible. So the offset is having three type: perpendicular offset, oblique offset, and sorry, two types: perpendicular offset and oblique offset. So perpendicular offset is having the angle 90°, and the oblique offset is having the angle other than 90°. Okay. For making the offset, we have this instrument. Okay, so this you from this figure you can see how we have to locate the ground features, what are the equipment used in the chain surveying. So these all are the field work which are given in the diagram. So you can see here in the field work, station A and B having length of D. Okay, you can see here this is the one length of one tape length, this much. Okay, at this point, suppose we have to mark the ground feature like building. Okay, so for building in the line of AB, we have to make the offset of 90 degree at two corner of this building. Okay, and we have to draw the this box and hash line. Okay, this is a symbol of building. Okay, so this is the field work. So we will skip this point because this is not in the syllabus of GATE. Okay, these are the conventional symbol which we can use for drawing the ground features. Okay.